I'm shocked. I am shocked.
Man, listen, all you guys, man, all you guys talking about 10 minutes or less, won't go past 4 rounds. Unbelievable, man. You guys should know how hard we work. You guys should know the
Here's what it
level
is,
we're at.
though. Here's what it is, Dewey,
No,
though.
nobody in the world is that good to make us look like we don't belong in a
Okay.
fight capacity. No one in the world. Don't give a fuck who you call. Anybody in their
Yeah,
prime, man.
yeah,
We
yeah.
train too hard, we work too much, and we have too much fight knowledge to get dusted off by anyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you know, I thought Fury was going to win easily. No disrespect to you, but you can't blame me because Francis had never stepped in the boxing ring, and But did you going into this fight, going to train with him? Is there something you saw where you wanted to get involved, or how did that come about?
Man, I've been training Francis since 2016.
Oh,
I've been his coach.
right, right, right,
God,
right. When he got
come
the
on,
belt,
man.
right, right, right,
I
right,
was
right,
with him before anyone in this city was. I was his first coach here in Las Vegas. I was with him with the old regime from France
right,
when Fernand Lopez was still training him. We lost the first Stipe fight together. I was on the team.
right.
But before he totally transitioned.
Uh huh.
Remember, originally he moved to Vegas. He would come out here and do the camps with me, but then the last few weeks he would go back to France and finish up with Fernand Lopez.
Right,
So
right, right,
now I've
right.
been
Okay.
with Francis.
So,
You know what
so
I mean?
you
And hold on, for the record, let me get all this
go for
straight. A lot of people don't realize my history, man. Remember, I was a boxing world championship winning coach. My first world championship was in 2002 with Jessica Rajan Rakosi. She won the WBA lightweight boxing world championship. Then she won the WBC. Then she won the IBF. Then she won the WBO. We unified every belt at the 135-pound division in the early 2000s. She was my first champion. After that, I moved on to Beirut Shumanov. We won the WBA light heavyweight championship. Beirut was the first Kazakhstan world champion before Triple G. And
right.
then, and thirdly, I was Jesse Vargas' coach. We won the WBO welterweight world title by knocking out Saddam Ali on Showtime. And he became the WBO world champion. That was one fight after his fight with Timothy Bradley. We
Right.
ended up losing that title to Manny Pacquiao in 2016. So I've had some major and that was live on HBO Sports, by the way. So
Right.
I've had a lot of boxing fights. And by the way, just last year, my female fighter Jamie Miracle Mitchell won the WBA super bantamweight world title in Liverpool, taking the current champion at the time, Shannon Courtenay's world title from her.
No, Jamie. She's
That's
from California.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, that's 8 world championships as a boxing head coach I won,
Oof.
spanning over the last 20 years. So I've been a boxing coach. I've been doing this. I'm just a rare guy who can do the boxing, the kickboxing, and the MMA striking because I did all three.
That's
So
rare.
now, and nowadays, everyone thinks I'm just some MMA striking coach because I have so many UFC fighters.
Right.
But that's because I'm in Vegas and I do have more MMA guys that I train than boxers. But I've been doing boxing training and fighting boxing for shit over 30 years, man. So
Man.
that's the difference. See, a lot of people underestimated that. They didn't realize that not just Mike Tyson coming on board and helping out here and there, they didn't realize my extensive boxing career as a coach.
Right. I mean, I see. So, like, I knew, I knew your background, but I think what had a lot of people unsure was the fact that Francis has never boxed. Even though, look, he's not throwing fastballs for a living, he was still throwing punches, right, and kicks. So,
That's right.
you know what I'm saying? It's not like he was, shooting threes, but that's what had most people, thinking that he doesn't stand a chance. Tyson Fury with the size,
Yeah.
with the agility, with what he did to Deontay. But what
Skill
I
set.
saw, right, the
Yes.
skill set. But what I saw immediately was the strength and the size difference was compared to Deontay, for example. The strength that Francis had, just not even the punching power, because that was apparent. Just the physical, like,
Yes.
get off me. You're
Yes.
like, you want to try and hold me? You lean on me. Tyson wore himself out trying to hold and
Yes.
lean on Francis, so we stopped doing it.
But we got receipts. We said that the entire time, especially me. Go look back on interviews from 2 months ago. I told every single interviewer that in the clinch, Tyson would get worn out. This is going to be the first time he ever lost in the clinch because Tyson Fury is an IQ skill set type of guy. If he can't beat you with the boxing, he'll go dirty boxing mode on you, grind on you, lean on you, burn you out, and then throw nice combinations to get you up out of there. Um,
Hmm.
I knew we had one major advantage for sure, and that was the clinch game. So after that, it was about devising a game plan that can nullify the great skill set of Tyson Fury as much as possible, and that's exactly what we did. But the clinch, we knew the clinch was going to be 100% us favoring in that
Wow.
aspect of the fight.
I mean, absolutely. And what I caught, which I thought was his countering was he just
Way
sat there and he
better,
waited for
way
Tyson to
better.
engage, and he would just counter him. And Tyson quickly had wanted no part of that.
Yeah, I think that was the best and the most vast improvement we made during camp. Um, uh, it got better and better each week. And there's memes going around saying 6 months this, 6 months that. Guys, it wasn't 6 months. It was 4 months. It was 15 weeks. That's 1 week short of 4 months.
Wow.
It wasn't 6 months. Had Francis had 6 months, he would have been 10%, 15% better than what he was last Saturday night. We didn't have 6 months. We had 15 weeks. And that was Francis not training for almost 2 years. That's after the knee surgery. We had a total time of 15 weeks.
And Francis's chin, right? I I mean, Jesus, he took some shots and it
Yes,
was like nothing.
yes. Especially the elbow he took. The elbow shocked me. He took it right to the dome and
Like
and
right.
just didn't shake. And I think, of course, he's strong and he was in shape, but I think that was just the unrelenting psychological focus he had because everyone counted him out. Guys, one thing about Francis Ngannou, I said it on the build-up of the fight, he makes the impossible not only possible but plausible, and that's what he did. Every time someone said he has no chance, he's going to get dusted off in 2 or 3 rounds. The first 10 minutes is all he has. He's going to get slaughtered after that. It's a wash. Why is this fight happening? All that negative stuff just fueled his fire and made him say, you know what, man, I'm going to show him. And that was his focus the entire camp, man. He trained tremendously hard. He took himself out of a comfort zone. I got sparring partners from all over the world, guys, all over the world, not just local guys, not just Americans. Francis was the smallest guy in the entire camp when it came to that. We got giants, man, from all over the world, South Africa, Ukraine, England,
Mm.
Australia, Italy.
What's the
We got some
tallest guy you got in? How tall was he?
6'10".
Ooh,
We had three guys 6'10",
God
bigger than
damn.
Tyson. I'll post a picture on my Instagram tomorrow. My next post, it'll show you the guys. They're all bigger than Francis.
Wow.
Um, Francis was just open to training hard, pushing himself to the absolute level, and truly believing in himself. That's the one thing that people don't understand, the belief. Because when you start hearing all that white noise, all that static about how you're going to get killed, and we're all human, we all have a mind that processes information. When you're fighting the best heavyweight boxer in the world, your first fight's the 10 rounder. He's bigger than you. He's a year younger than you. He's way more experienced than you. What keeps you going and what keeps you believing that you have opportunity to win? Three things: strong mind, big heart, titanium balls. He had all three, and he believed in himself. And all the negativity, all the naysayers, helped perpetuate him to really getting that ironclad mentality and just saying to himself, "I'm not going to be stopped." We predicted he will win. It was we feel accomplished. Today's Wednesday, 4 days after the fight or whatever. 5 days after the fight. We feel accomplished, but it's still a little bittersweet because the only thing that would have put the exclamation point on the 28th in Riyadh was him getting his hand raised, and we were shortcutted by that. Um, but other than that, we feel accomplished. Don't get me wrong, guys. We're not about constellation prizes. We're not about you showed up. But the entire team truly feels like he won the fight. That's why we have a sense of pride and a sense of accomplishment right now.
I mean, regardless of the fight was super close, and he came out victorious no matter what the scorecards say for the effort he put forth. You know, considering his background, never fighting before professionally, boxing that is.
Yes.
I mean, the thing to me that was most, he looked like a real boxer. Like he looked like he'd been boxing. You know what I'm saying? Like the punches were crisp. He wasn't awkward with his legs. He wasn't tripping over himself. You know, a lot of these other
Yes.
crossover fighters.
Yes.
I mean, where is that? Is that from working with you, or coming in? Did he already look like that? Like in terms of looking like
Well,
a somewhat like a polished boxer?
Francis has worked with me for many years now, and
Right.
I'm a stickler about technique, anyway. But it's just a combination of a lot of things. Francis is an athlete. He's a strong, powerful guy. He's an athlete, and he's highly intelligent. So we came together as a team. We talked about all the nuances and all the tiny, intricate details about the transition from doing MMA to doing a boxing fight.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, I know the difference because I fought all three professionally.
Mm-hmm.
Boxing is a fine-tuned art. It's not a lot of fluff. It's not a lot of leeway for mistakes and error. The windows of opportunity in boxing are this small compared to MMA that's this small. So once you understand that, you understand it's doubly important to have your technique sharp in boxing, more so than kickboxing and MMA, because you only got two weapons. You can't kick him in the leg if your boxing ain't working. You can't take him down if he's outstriking you. You gotta fucking keep throwing them hands. You only got two. So it's a really fine-tuned art. I think that's the difference that a lot of people don't really understand when we talk about mixed martial arts to boxing.
Right.
Once Francis understood that, he understood that, okay, I got to make sure my techniques are more crisp than normal. Francis can put people lights out with any kind of punch. It could be either hand thrown properly or thrown improperly. It can still knock someone out. So technique ain't the main thing when he's fighting MMA. It's about timing and hitting them. But boxing, the precision and the technique was extremely important.
Right.
Perfect example in the Rosenstruhl fight. You guys see what happened. He went out there like the guy called me out, I'm taking his head off. It wasn't the most technical Francis Ngannou like the second Stipe fight, but it was still very effective. He knocked him out in less than 30 seconds. He knew he couldn't do that against Tyson Fury. And I'm real disappointed. A lot of the so-called experts thought he was honestly going to go out there and do what he did with Rosenstruhl, just swing wild and go nuts for 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, the last thing I'll say about it, and I'll let you talk, 'cause I know I'm talking too
Sure.
much.
Oh, all good.
Um, he agreed to do a 30-minute fight, a 10-round, 3 minute per round fight. Why would you guys think he would? Not you. I'm just talking to whoever that
Right.
felt this way. Why would people think he's only going to be prepared for a third of the fight? That's disrespect to the game. I know it's a hard sell. He's fighting the best, so of course you're gonna think Tyson's gonna win. But for people to think he was only gonna have like 8 to 10 minutes in him, when the details of the fight was 30 minutes, is disrespect to him, me, the entire team, and the whole sport of boxing. No one gets in there for a fight of no matter how many rounds it is and only prepare for a third of that. If they do, they're not winners in the first place. We're winners, man. Francis is a world champion.
Yeah.
He's the defending UFC world
Yeah.
champion at that. So you
Yeah.
guys gave him a little more credit than that.
I think people are used to crossover fighters like but YouTubers, and so they automatically think that maybe a crossover fighter is going to get gassed and whatever. Which, Francis didn't look tired to me at all, which was shocked. I was
Yeah.
shocked. I mean, I was shocked, but you know, um, here's what I saw. I saw Francis neutralize all of Tyson Fury's usual advantages
Yes.
with his strength,
Yes.
with his size.
Yes.
And here's the one thing that he stood there and had no problem taking a punch to give one. So when
Yes.
Tyson got aggressive, Francis was waiting to hit him with that counter because he knew he could
Yes.
eat it if he had to, and that's actually what the knockdown was, as a matter of
Yes.
fact.
Yes.
Um,
100%. 100%. One thing the about well, I love boxing, guys. I hate to say this, but if I had a choice to watch a boxing fight or MMA fight, I'd take the boxing every time.
mm,
So that's how real about boxing I am. I'm, kickboxing is my favorite thing in the world because that's what I did as a kid all the way up.
mm-hmm.
But boxing is my second favorite thing. I love MMA too, but at the end of the day, man, there's nothing like the sport of boxing to me. That was always my choice once I started doing everything professionally. In saying that, the MMA guy has one advantage that people don't even consider. MMA is a little scarier to do. You know what I
Oh yeah,
mean? Because you're getting just the psychological mind state to get in a cage versus the ring. A cage is for animals, man. Just that alone
yeah,
psychologically takes you back to the caveman days.
yeah,
You're getting in a cage. You can use any weapon of the eight limbs. You can wrestle, grapple, submissions, all these things. And not only that, because a fight's a fight, but guess what? You got a little 4-ounce glove on, man. That's a little scarier getting hit than a 10-ounce boxing glove.
yeah,
Not
yeah.
saying a 10-ounce boxing glove's not effective. More people die in boxing every year than any fight sport, which means boxing is the most dangerous fight
It
sport.
is.
But psychologically, the mentality of the MMA fighter is a little more courageous about getting in with a boxing glove versus a 4-ounce fucking weightlifting glove. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
And
yeah.
so that's part of it too. Francis was willing to take those shots, not because he wanted to get hit, because it's a little less scary with a big ass glove on.
Right.
Um, and remember now from the boxing standpoint, 'cause I did them all. That's an illusion too. With that big ass glove on, you could really finish your punches way better than with the small MMA glove on. So you might be punching harder.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
remember, everything's about the psychological mind state going into it. If you're the MMA guy, you feel like he's hit me with a twice bigger glove, 2.5 times bigger. So it gives you a little more like, okay,
Hmm.
let's go.
Was
Whether that's a good thing or not, we
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah, no, exactly. Was there anything about Tyson that surprised you, or was there anything about him that you actually were like, oh, that's it?
No, no, because we did our due diligence, man. We studied a lot of video, and I was at one of the Deontay Wilder fights. I seen him live,
Okay.
and I watched Tyson Fury. I like Tyson Fury, man. Just like when Jesse Vargas fought Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao is one of my favorite fighters, and we had to fight against him. So, I like Tyson Fury. I like what he's done in the heavyweight division. Those three Deontay Wilder fights, you gotta after those fights, if you don't like Tyson Fury and you're a boxing enthusiast, something's wrong with you.
Agreed.
But but the first time I watched those fights when he was fighting Wilder, and I had no stake in it, but being a fan, I viewed it a whole different way than when I watched it and processed it as a coach going against him.
Sure.
So I don't blame the people for thinking that Tyson was gonna run through Francis, because if I weren't training Francis and if I didn't go back and watch those videos closely from a coach's strategic eye, I'd have been like, Francis has no shot.
Yeah.
But once you watch those fights closely, you see some holes. The MMA guys say holes in his game. You see some openings. I don't like the word holes because he's one of the best to ever do it. So it ain't that he has holes in his game, but there are opportunities. There are openings. And I discovered those in watching those videos. And I said, oh, wow. That's when I became confident. I'm a real dude. Um, if I thought it was going to be like Press, you got no shot. At some point in camp, I would have been like, hey, we do this just for the money or what? You know what I mean?
Right.
Because damn,
Right.
Press, you're not looking good. I would have said all these things. Tyson is super awesome. He's like Mayweather Jr. He's unbeatable type.
Right.
But I didn't see that. I seen opportunities where I knew Francis would be able to exploit, knowing his athletic ability, knowing his underrated speed, and knowing that he wouldn't be scared at that moment of battle.
That
And uh
that was
and,
a
and
big
that's
one.
what it came down to it. A lot of guys get intimidated by the reputation versus the man they're facing.
Right.
And that's one thing about Francis. You're not gonna punk him out with the reputation. You better
Right.
do something that night against the man he's facing.
Right. Right. I mean, I would always call Fury a cheat code because of his size advantage over everybody. But Francis is probably the only fighter that I could think of that has the advantage over Tyson. Like when Tyson steps on the gas on somebody and leans on him, starts throwing punches, you
Done
know,
deal.
it's hard for them. But with
Yes.
Francis, he couldn't do any of that. What he ended up doing, which was the only reason why the fight ended up being close, why Francis didn't walk through him, was because Tyson
Yeah.
had those 3-4 inches. He could just pop the jab and try and stay
Yes.
away.
Yes. 100%.
You know what I mean?
100%. And if you watch the fight again, that was a round where I felt like Tyson started catching his rhythm and he landed 3 or 4 good, clean jabs. And I told Francis right then, Francis, get your breath. Hey, we cannot let him beat us with the
I
jab.
heard that.
You're just walking into him. I need
Yeah.
you to either defend that jab, move your head, or parry it. You cannot let him just beat you with the jab. Because one thing about Tyson Fury, he's a winner and he'll stay on that jab. Occasionally try to land the right hand, but he's seen after the first 3 rounds, this is a real fight. So he was going to be content with winning it versus trying to look spectacular.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. I mean, yeah.
And that's the difference. I discovered that right away. At first, he was trying to get Francis out of there,
Yeah.
swinging hard, attacking
Yeah.
a lot. But but then he realized, hold up, this dude got defense. He got counter punching, like you
And
said,
he ate.
that no one expected.
And he ate the. I remember
Good
that
shit.
first right hand when the bell rang. He ate it and nothing. And
Yeah,
and Francis threw a hard counter.
yeah.
I fought too. You fought.
Yeah.
Sometimes a punch, even if it doesn't land on the chin, if it bounces off you feel it. You're like, oh
Yes.
shit, I
Yeah,
better
he's hit
stay clear.
hard.
And that's probably what Tyson felt immediately.
Yes. And the thing is, guys, here's the scary thing. First of all, we'll talk about perception. Let me calm down. You get me hyped now. Perception, right? Perception. What was the perception? Francis got 10 minutes or less in him. Francis doesn't have any cardio. He's going to gas out for sure. Francis, out of 20 MMA fights he gassed out one time. That was of his first championship 5-round fight against Stipe. Think about his last body of work. In the last 2 years, he only fought once. That was against Cyril Gunn. He fought Gunn on one leg and went 25 minutes. On one leg, guys. He really destroyed his knee 3 weeks before. He could even walk a week before the fight. I was sparring with him, standing in a telephone booth, giving him his only work he could do. And he couldn't move then. And he did 25 minutes against, at the time, the undefeated top prospect in the UFC heavyweight,
Right.
who knows him, to train with him, who knows his mannerisms and his techniques and all of that.
Right.
25 minutes. And he
Right.
didn't gas out then. So I don't know why people thought he would gas out now. I know it's a different fight. It's 5 extra minutes, but they're in more shorter, explosive packages, being 3 10-minute rounds. But there was no reason why people would think he just gas out. Now he has 2 legs. He had 15 weeks to prepare. And as long as he didn't psychologically implode on himself, I knew we were going to be good.
Yeah.
I knew we were going to be good. And so we expected victory the entire time. Watch all our interviews. That's all we talked about. We're here to shock the world. And one thing I will say when I close my eyes, man, and think about this, I don't think there's anyone else that could have did what he did. Remember, I feel like in my prime, I was a really good fighter and I had good stamina and endurance and all of that. But I was already a champion kickboxing when I started boxing. I couldn't imagine taking on the top cruiserweight in the world, my first pro boxing fight, and going 10 rounds against the top cruiserweight in the world. I couldn't imagine. My first 6 pro boxing fights, I had 4-round fights. to the first time you do it to fight the best of the
Yeah.
era and go 10 rounds with him is insane,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Conor McGregor did good against Floyd, but guess what? Floyd was past 40. He was a smaller guy. Conor was bigger, stronger, younger. Conor was in his prime. So he got an out of prime Floyd, in his prime, bigger, stronger Conor. So it kind of leveled out, and Floyd still stopped him.
Stop them. Yeah.
Francis fought a bigger guy, more experienced guy in the prime of his career, 34 fights, undefeated, and
Yeah.
a year older than Tyson Fury.
Man.
Francis older than him. All the advantages seem to be going to Tyson, and you see what Francis did. I honestly don't think there's anyone else, MMA fighter or even boxer, that could do what Francis did. You seen the great Lomachenko. His second fight, he got beat. He got beat by older 39-year-old tough, ex-champion out of his prime.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Francis is an enigma. He did something that's gonna be hard to repeat,
It
man. His
was. It
first fight.
was. Yeah. It was very, very unexpected. Very impressive. All around the board. So the question I ask now is, who would you guys want to fight next? Boxing.
Well, I mean, whoever Francis wants to fight, I want to fight, because I feel he can fight anyone in the world. So it's just all about what him and the management, Markel and Andrew and Francis, come up with. Once they decide, then we'll get
I
to
mean,
work and
him and
help
him
him
and
prepare.
Deontay Wilder would be fireworks.
Explosive,
Woo.
yeah, for sure. That's a great fight. Anthony Joshua and him, two big, swole, strong boxers would be
I
nice as
think
well.
I don't know if it would go well for Anthony Joshua, and I can't believe I'm saying this because I'm a boxing. You know what I'm saying? In his second
Hey,
fight, but I don't know if it would go well for Anthony Joshua.
if we asked you that 2 years ago before the Eddie Ruiz fight, you would say Francis has no shot.
Yup. Yup.
See how things change.
Yup. Yup.
Um, whoever they say, because I don't want to say this guy did. The media says Dewey Cooper says Francis is fighting this guy next. No, I don't even get involved in the matchmaking. Of course, sometimes they'll say, "Hey, what do you think?" I give my
Right.
opinion, but I
Right.
truly don't care. I fought in the K1. I fought in the old times where it didn't matter. You fought whomever,
Hmm.
because if you feel you're the best, you're willing to fight whoever. So me as a coach, whoever they say we fight, if the fighter agrees to it, we're gonna focus on victory, and they can't defeat us until they beat us.
Of course.
Too many guys lose before they step in the ring or the cage. Too many of them lose. If you don't have belief in yourself and your team and your abilities, you shouldn't be doing this sport, because it's going to come down to belief, abilities, and having a astute team with you at some point.
Right. 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 And to rewind for a second, I wanted to talk about this before, but that whole atmosphere and it was an event. I mean, what was that
Well,
like for you with seeing all these champions? Well, I mean, they really rolled out the red carpet for the
man,
world.
the night before the fight, we had a little gala dinner,
Hmm.
and literally the only two alive champions weren't there were Floyd Mayweather and Shane Mosley. Every other world champion boxer that's alive, every one of them was there. We have a photo that I'm getting, the frame and blown up. I was actually the photo, so it was a super
That's
honor for me.
cool. Yeah.
Pacquiao standing next to me. Joe Calzaghe's right there. Usyk 4 or 5 guys away from me. Like Larry Holmes, Roy Jones, Lennox Lewis, Michael Speaks. I mean, it was Roberto Duran, Oscar De La Hoya. It was crazy, man.
Crazy. Crazy.
Lennox Lewis, Evander Holyfield. It was the most incredible night I've ever had in a fight spectrum. I mean, it was unexplainable. The dinner was perfect. They had an incredible band playing updated music, but from a classy perspective. It was like the most high society event ever.
It was
And
crazy.
and the entire week that the festivities were unsurpassed, unmatched. And then fight night. Man, fight night was so crazy. Like the promo, the sound system, the stage, the ring walk. That was the most incredible ring walk I've ever been a part of.
Well,
Um,
I heard that you, at one point, right before the fight, went up to each person and said, "Do you believe?
oh
Do
man,
you
let me tell
believe?"
you. It's so crazy. I went into Cobra mode. Like people who really know me, like the guy you talking to now. This is Dewey Cooper. Dewey Cooper is just a regular black dude that's kind of cool and mellow and all of that. Black Cobra is like it's like just a conqueror, a serious dude, no joking. You know, we about that life. We're trying to win. Fuck everything else. We got to sacrifice our bodies. That's what we do. And as we're warming up, we had a long warm up, so we're taking our time, going slow. So I was still Dewey Cooper. But as the fight got closer, they told us 15 minutes from the fight, I just turned to Black Cobra because I felt the intensity and the pressure, and that the whole world the whole world's expectation is waiting on us, and we're like carrying the cross for man's sins, and that cross is heavy. And that turned me to Black Cobra because I didn't want Francis to feel that way.
Mm,
So I don't even know how I thought of this, but we had Izzy, we had Kamara Usman, we had a bunch of people in the dressing room. And normally, by the way, the dressing room was too star filled and too much activity for
right,
what we normally
right.
do. But it was such an event. If media was in there. It was crazy. I don't know how I did this. We were just hitting pads, and I said, okay, we're gonna start picking the intensity up, Francis. He was ready to go, of course, and he started hitting hard and looking good. And I was looking around the room, and it was a little too somber and too quiet. I didn't want the room to feel like we're going to our funeral or
Uh-huh.
something sad. This was a celebration of Francis's hard work and dedication. So it was quiet, and everyone's like, "Oh shit, the fight's getting closer." And I didn't like that type of energy. We wanted that warrior energy, that like we're ready energy.
Yeah.
And I looked at Izzy, he looked at me, and I just said, Izzy, do you believe? He said, yeah, coach, I believe. I said, Kamaru, do you believe? He said, yeah, coach, I believe. I just named our whole team that was there. And
That's
then
dope.
lastly, I said, you know I believe, and we know Francis believe. Francis said, hell yeah. And so I hit those pads like a lunatic hard, and
That's
they started
great.
yelling and screaming and clapping. It was the most awesome moment in the locker room I've ever had because everyone spiritually connected, and it was all about, excuse my language, but fuck this shit. We about to shock the world and prove everybody wrong.
Yeah.
And I knew Francis felt that way for a long time, and it all came out right then.
Man.
And he finished it up with a Superman punch, and we walked out there and did what he did,
Um,
and he finished the fight with a
I
Superman
saw
punch.
that. So what was Mike Tyson's involvement in training? Because I know you did most of the training, right?
Yeah, yeah. Mike came in and pointed some things out, helped with some intricate details. He came in and worked with us. For Francis, man, imagine like if your favorite fighter, let's say, just saying, if Rocky Marciano was your favorite fighter and he showed up at the gym to train with you and tell you he believes in you and you can do this shit, just the motivation of him being there alone
Alone,
is
yeah.
can't be manufactured.
Yeah.
As hard as we train, as much as I'm yelling, as hard as I'm telling him to hit me, as much as he's hurt me when he's hit me, nothing can really motivate you like your favorite guy who inspires you to even start this journey.
Right.
So the closest thing I can know, I love Muhammad Ali. He came to one of my fights in the K1, him and Mike Tyson, because Tyson and I go back since the
That's
90s. Tyson and I have been friends for a long time. That's why on the video you see me and Mike standing there laughing and talking, we truly know each other.
right.
Tyson came to several of my fights back in the days. And for Tyson to be there, it was huge motivation and a psychological spark for Francis. Um, and yeah, he came and trained with us. Um, but most of the work was done separate. of
Right.
Mike because he has a busy schedule and all of that. And like I said, when he came in, it was important stuff we worked on, and we just kept grinding when he was gone. Uh, Coach John Mumba, of course, Eric Nixick, we were the ones that ran the whole structure of the camp. Since I'm the one with the boxing experience, I was the head, and then John Mumba and I worked really close together. And of course, Eric was there involved every step of the way. In the sparring, I made sure I said what I had to say. Eric said what he had to say. John had his input as well. The thing people don't realize, we are a unit with one accord. Our goal was to help Francis be the best he could be. So there was no egos about who's doing more than others. We all worked as a unit, as a family, and that's why we got such a productive outcome in the fight. There was no hatred, man. We were all there for
Yeah.
Francis.
Nah, man, you guys did great. Francis really seems like he could be a force to reckon with. Is he? Do you guys know if he is going to be focusing on boxing? Like his next fight will be boxing. He's going to really put his foot on the gas, or do you know what his plans are?
No one knows what Francis' plans are, but we did ask him. We asked him, and he said he wants to do them both. Why not? He could do MMA and boxing. That's the last thing he said when we asked. He said, "Yo, I'm doing them both." And at the end of the day, man, whatever he wants to do, we're gonna back him, man. We love Francis. Francis is a great guy, man. He's a great guy. So if he wants to do MMA and he wants us to be a part of it, we're gonna be there, taking them hard ass punches, them hard ass kicks, and doing our best to, help him prepare for victory. And the same thing in boxing, man.
Yeah.
Training Francis is built different. Training training him it's there's some pain involved. You know what I mean? There's some pain
Is he the
involved. A
hardest
lot of
punch
people,
that you felt?
yes, yes,
Yeah.
so many. Man, come on, Francis hurt me so many times. I don't even get hurt anymore. I'm hurt, and it don't even register anymore. All of us. But see, we have one joke we always say. Make sure you hit your opponent as hard as you hit me. I'm your coach. If you hit me that hard, make sure you hit your opponent that hard. And he says, "Oh, no problem." I think he
That's
kind of likes. I think he kind of likes hurting me. He punches me hard, and he just smiles about it.
that's great,
So
man.
it's fun getting beat up by Francis. It's actually pretty fun.
Yeah. No, he's like I said, man. What I saw, he could hold his own with any top heavyweight right now.
Yes, yes. Well,
Right?
that's definitely. We feel the same way. But we're gonna keep training, and we're gonna clean up some of the mistakes that were made against Tyson. But one thing I will tell you for sure, and you box, you know how it is, man. Who knows if they can do 10 rounds their first boxing outing?
I
So
know.
that's hard. That's stressful because you don't want to step on the gas too much and burn out. You don't want to go too slow and lose the fight. So it's really hard to do. Like I said, Lomachenko couldn't even do it. I mean, he's one of the greatest boxers of our era. So it was hard. Now, Francis' second fight, he'll be even more assured of himself doing 10. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And
Yeah.
and that extra assurance will make him an improved fighter just from
And
that.
his confidence will probably be through the
Yeah,
roof.
confidence will be up, and now we have a camp to base it on. Mixed martial art training camps are totally different than boxing training camps. Francis will tell you, like that first 3 weeks from punching every day, just boxing every day, man, it locks you up. Knots in your shoulders, your traps, your back. People don't realize how many punches boxers throw per week. MMA guys, we may do what, 2 boxing sessions a week? If
Right.
you're really stoked out, you'll get 3 in a week. But
Yeah.
doing it 6 days a week, it's a big difference, man.
Yeah,
And
man.
he's seen that early in camp. Those first 4 weeks were grueling for him. He just
Yeah.
wasn't used to punching so frequently and so much.
Right.
But it all came out at the end. He peaked at the right time. Everything was perfect. His conditioning was on point. Lots of times, conditioning coaches try to outdo the other coaches, which makes their fighter not be able to perform with what matters, the sparring and stuff. Trip Hell was a tremendous conditioning coach. He talked with me. He talked with us daily. Whether we should step up the condition or pull back, do the certain things we had to do, whether it's sparring or just a pad session. Man, it was harmony in Team Ngannou, man. It was complete harmony. And and we all predicted when Francis would be peaking. We all knew when he was going to be good. We all knew when he was going to be slightly burnt out. You know, it was perfect, man. We put it together like a science project, and I'm really proud of everyone.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I mean, wow. All I can say is I'm shocked. I'm happy for you. I'm happy for him. I can't wait to see what happens next. And yeah, man, I appreciate you talking to me. Let's do it again soon.
Yeah, thank you, man. Let me finish by saying, guys, anyone who feels that the world can can prohibit for what they want to do, only you can prohibit what you want to do. Francis, if he hasn't done anything else for you, he should give you that belief. With belief, you know, hard work and knowing that you can accomplish anything you want to accomplish, you can. It might be horrific, it might be hard, it may seem dark like it can't be done. But for man to go from a small village in Cameroon, travel across the goddamn world and become champion, and then fight the best boxer in the world, his first fight out, and do what he just did, anything is possible.
Absolutely.
So thank you
Absolutely.
guys for having me.
Yeah, yeah,
Black Cobra
yeah.
Striking Systems. Yo, I appreciate you.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you too. Let's talk again soon. All right, brother.
Peace.
Peace.